Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Sheila O'Connell-Roussel, and I share the position of University Ministry with Sister Cecilia Ranger, and it's a joy. And we are very grateful to the Sisters of Holy Names of Jesus and Mary for giving us an initiation grant to begin interfaith dialogue at Marylhurst. It's so crucial in our time, in our world, in our society, and in our personal lives that we learn how to be people of God with one another. And this is essential to our Catholic faith. We have been given the mandate to celebrate everything that is good, that is holy, and is unifying in all the world's religions. And that is actually what it means to be truly Catholic, to be dedicated to Jesus Christ and our Blessed Mother with our heart and mind and soul, and to open the doors of Our Lady's School, Marylhurst University, to invite all people in to share goodness and righteousness and beauty with one another. So thank you very much for coming to this, our first outreach for Interfaith Dialogue, Marylhurst University. Blessings.
Welcome, everybody. We're very pleased to take you down the river and through the many streams and through some of the channels and in some of the ports. We thought we might take you on a journey, and we're going to do so by taking you across the waters of planet Earth. And we're going to be on a ship named Dona Nobis Pacem, which means give us your peace, give us peace. And we're going to stop and pick up new cargo as the ship goes on. And each tradition, we're going to see what they have to give to the cargo that we want to share with the whole world. And our destination is peace, peace across the world. Now, history hasn't given us a very good map for peace. We've looked at least as a destination, it would seem that human consciousness in the past hasn't really evolved to the degree that we can say it's better to be loving than it is to be right. You've heard that before. So in the past, many religious traditions have been unwilling to listen. They've been unwilling to work together. They've been unwilling to put their shoulder with someone else and work side by side for the good of the whole universe. You recall the persecutions in the early church when Christians were fed to the lions, and before that there were other persecutions in the traditions of other religions. You remember the Crusades, when people thought they were right, so they had to oppress those who weren't right. You remember all the theories of inquisitions. In many cases, the kings decided they would have an inquisition, but the Pope or the religious authorities affirmed that. And so we had inquisitions throughout the period of history, which I don't have time to go into now, but anyway, there were many of them. And then you remember the Holocausts, the most recent one of the Jews in at the time of the Second World War. Didn't stop there. We have struggles in Northern Ireland. We had struggles in Iraq. We're still having struggles in Israel and across the world. But I think that we people of faith are explorers. We're explorers together. And by our efforts, we're willing to create a new map. And so that's what I want to do tonight, create a new map of our world. And so we're eager to stop at each port and to listen and to learn and to trade wisdom with people from other traditions. We're willing to seek reconciliation, and we're willing to share resources, and we're also willing to collaborate for the good of other people. Because the truth is that the God who is peace is a mystery that's way beyond any religious tradition to possibly understand, grope with, explain. And so, we do need to gather the rich heritage of every spiritual tradition. We look at the sacred literature of every tradition, and we look at the consecrated sites, the cathedrals and temples and mosques. And so, as I said, we need to look at the sacred literature. We need to look at the Jewish Torah. We need to look at the Hindu Bhagavad Gita. We need to look at the Buddhist Dharmas. We need to look at the Christian Gospels. We need to look at the Muslim Quran, because it's very interesting to see the parallels in a lot of that literature. At least many of the values are synchronous. And we can take the opportunities in Oregon. Oregon is a state where we have practically every temple and every kind of mosque and every kind of Christian church. And we can seek to hear the stories and read the stories of the holy people. Many times they are on TV, but sometimes they are depicted in other ways. And we can join communities of committed believers who are really afire for justice and peace, and that they're willing to figure out ways to do that together. And so what do we find as we steer our ship down the river and through the streams and into various channels? I want to give you little vignettes of some of these little things. At the port of the Native American and indigenous traditions, we really inhale a whole sense of reverence for all creation, every being. Lame Deer, a Sioux holy man, greets us in his particular port with these words, and explains the harmony among peoples and all creatures. This is what he says. Nature wants things to be round. The bodies of human beings and animals have no corners. With us, the circle stands for the togetherness of people who sit with one another around the campfire, relatives and friends united in peace, while the pipe passes from hand to hand. The camp in which every teepee had its place was also a ring. The teepee was a ring in which people sat in a circle, and all the families in the village were in turn in circles within a larger circle, part of the larger hoop, which was the 7 campfires of the Sioux, representing one nation. The nation was only a part of the universe, in itself circular, and made of the earth, which is round, of the sun, which is round, of the stars, which are round, the moon, the horizon, the rainbow, circles within circles within circles with no beginning and no end. That's our native brothers and sisters. And we move to Hinduism then, which welcomes every person also. Every person is welcome in the Hindu port. It's a religion of inclusion, of awareness that everything is sacred, and it emphasizes that the absolute presence is actually manifest in every being, person, tree, whatever. Mahatma Gandhi had an invitation to all of us, and all of us honor and revere him. He says, "Let no one, even for a moment, entertain the fear that a reverent study of other religions is likely to weaken or shake one's faith." The Hindu system of philosophy regards all religions as containing the elements of truth in them, and enjoins an attitude of respect and reverence toward them all.